What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for Life, coming at you on YouTube, and today I've got some football focus. At long last, the Pittsburgh Steelers are back. Regular season football Sundays are back. Pittsburgh is playing in Atlanta, week 1 of the 2024 NFL season. Atlanta coming into this season looking like a big favorite. It seems like their offense is going to be all the rage. A lot of good defensive pickups, a lot of guys back from injuries. Kirk Cousins, the big contract over in Atlanta now. The hype was around seeing what he could do with guys like Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, this offensive line. So Atlanta's offense was one quarterback away, and they got that quarterback now. That being said, Pittsburgh also changed their quarterback room to add veteran Russell Wilson and uber athlete Justin Fields. Russell Wilson came into this game hurt, did not play in this game. Justin Fields got the start, so people didn't really know what to expect. New offensive coordinator, brand new offense. Justin Fields in at quarterback. What to expect? Well, Pittsburgh comes down and has a much more active offense. Definitely active, definitely a lot of motion, a lot of moving around, but starts the game very sloppily. Things on both sides kind of look sloppy. The defense was much more in tune overall than the offense. Pittsburgh on offense, again, lots of motion, lots of movement, lots more life than normal. But that being said, we just looked off kilter. Justin Fields was off on a lot of throws, missed a couple guys, was throwing behind some guys. Van Jefferson got open on an out route to the sidelines, and Fields missed him big time. Almost threw a pick. I'm sorry, not a pick, but almost fumbled the ball twice. Two muffled snaps, which was the same as his preseason started with a different snapper. Spencer Anderson got the start today. For our best lineman, Isaac Seumalo. Seumalo is going to be out for a couple of weeks. So Spencer Anderson gets the start. Dan Moore and Broderick Jones wind up starting a tackle. So Fatanu does not start. So you do wind up with Spencer Anderson right next to rookie Zach Frazier. So the line's in a bit of disarray, and you could see them kind of coming out. Couple of penalties early, 2 bad snaps, and I was thinking, don't put Fields under center anymore. He's obviously having trouble holding the snaps under center. Something is wrong with Frazier. I think it was more so on Fields than Frazier, but nonetheless, the formations were coming out kind of wrong. Fields was looking inaccurate. They were looking a little conservative. They were kind of misaligned. They were throwing a lot of screens. It looked like a very kind of disgruntled, disjointed offense early on in the game. That being said, Pittsburgh's defense kind of settled in after coming out allowing a field goal to Atlanta, comes down and gets a field goal of their own. We'll talk about our field goals and how Chris Boswell was far and away our MVP of this game. Pittsburgh eventually starts to get field goals consistently, getting downfield, both on offense and defense, bending but not breaking. Going downfield on offense but not wind up getting touchdowns, settling for field goals, and then the defense kind of bending a little bit to Atlanta's offense, but then settling in for either turnovers or allowing just field goals. So Pittsburgh starts to kind of settle in. That being said, in the second half especially, they dominated the game, controlled the clock, controlled the ball, got some turnovers, got good field position, and could not get the ball in the end zone to save their lives. One long drive in the fourth quarter, Pittsburgh comes down, they're running the ball well, Najee starts breaking out with some good runs. They start using Fields on options more, that gets them a couple good runs. Jaylen Warren gets a little more involved. He was playing today surprisingly healthy, unlike we expected. Didn't get a whole lot of touches surprisingly, but did play well on a couple that he got. We start driving down the field in the fourth quarter. We're up by, I think, 5 points with the ball, and a field goal or a touchdown would have ended the game. We go for it on 4th and 1. We're not really settled for the snap. We snap in. A Falcons player jumps over the pile, much like Troy Polamalu used to do. Tackles Fields behind the line. Fields slips. So just a lot of kind of miscues and a lot of little things that could have resulted in a disastrous loss for a game we should have won. Pittsburgh does wind up winning the game 18-10 overall, allowing just 1 touchdown in the game from Atlanta at the very end of the first half. 3 points for most of the first half, a touchdown at the end of the first half, so 10 points in the first half, and nothing at all in the second half. So just 10 points and 3 turnovers. For this defense that plays very, very well. Starts off a little bit janky, like I said, with an opening field goal drive. Allows nothing the rest of the half until the end of the half touchdown, and then nothing for the entire second half. Couple of picks, a fumble recovery, couple of sacks. No points allowed in the second half. Pittsburgh's defense really comes through. Let's talk about stats here. Justin Fields on the day settled in after kind of a rough first drive with 2 fumbles, one of which was on him that he recovered. and then few bad passes early on. Fields settles in 17 for 23, 156 yards, no touchdowns, but no picks. No turnovers on the day, which is big for Fields. Also had 13 carries for 55 yards as the second leading rusher on this team. So over 210 yards total for Fields, 55 on the ground using his legs. So a bit of a conservative game overall offensively. They didn't call anything too far out of pocket for Fields, but he did find some nice plays downfield to George Pickens. A couple of plays overall, some short stuff to Freiermuth, one short one to Washington, one short one to Calvin Austin, some nice things overall to George Pickens, and mostly a pretty conservative game. But again, once he kind of got himself into a rhythm after that first drive. While nothing spectacular, minus a couple deep balls to Pickens, who made some good plays. Fields wasn't erratic. He was hitting the short throws he had to hit. He was running at the right times. He was looking to pass first before run, and he wasn't turning the ball over, which is a big thing for Fields. Najee Harris leads the way rushing today, 20 carries for 70 yards, led by a big 30-plus yard run in the second half where he finally got a hole. The offensive line overall, I would give a positive 2. They did start kind of rough, but again, for coming in with Fatanu being banged up and a rookie starting at center, and Broderick Jones being moved over out of his natural spot, and Spencer Anderson starting in place of our best lineman, Sayamalu. With all those things considered, I think allowing only one sack to Fields, who holds the ball way too long. He might have gotten sacked twice, but he holds the ball a lot. And for this offensive line being so in flux, and a quarterback who tries to extend plays for so long, that's not a bad number. 1 to 2 sacks in a situation like that, nothing catastrophic, and really no miscues after that first drive. Not too bad for the line. I'm going to give them overall positive considering what they came in with. Playing with a backup quarterback who holds the ball. Receiving, like I said, the one that stood out was George Pickens, 6 catches for 85 yards. He also had 2 bad calls against him today. There were several bad calls by the referees. One against TJ Watt, where he came off the edge, jumped the snap count really well, and got a sack and a forced fumble. That was called back by the refs for an offsides penalty. Bad call there. George Pickens also had 2 bad calls on him. One was a offensive pass interference that he was one-on-one down the sidelines, made a nice catch, did push off slightly but didn't extend the arms, just had incidental hand contact, did do a slight push off, but could not have been called. They called that one back, which would have been a deep catch for Pickens. And also, on another one that Pickens did catch down the middle of the field, he got up without being touched and ran the ball for an extra 20 yards that was called down by contact, so he didn't get the extra 20 yards. So really, Pickens could have had 150 in this game. He had an extra 20 or so yards called back on that and an extra 30 or so yards called back on an OPI that shouldn't have been called. So Pickens with a good day, could have been a really great day, but made really nice hands catches. One nice 2-yard hands catch that sounds silly, but at least 3 downfield, plus the one that was called down and the one that was called back. So Pickens overall leads the way. It looks like he's going to be a dominant number 1 receiver in this offense. Just throw the ball up to him. Not a lot of receivers getting a lot of separation in this game. They didn't target Connor Hayward a lot. Didn't see a ton. Only 1 target for Calvin Austin, which he caught. 1 for Washington, which he caught. Van Jefferson had one that was thrown poorly to him. So not a whole lot of targets downfield for guys besides Pickens. Pat Freiermuth did catch 4 for 27 and was used as a nice bailout guy to get small separation, but not a lot of separation for guys. Freiermuth used in a good role here, even though it was sparing, and Pickens getting the one-on-ones and making the incredible catches that only he can make. So overall, big positives for Fields, for Najee, for Pickens, and for the O-line here. Defensively, like I said, again, allowing a field goal on the first drive, looking a little shaky, and then allowing nothing else till the last drive of the half for a touchdown. And then after that, nothing in the second half at all. So you got to feel pretty good about a Falcons team who, yes, had a new coordinator and a new quarterback, but they've got some weapons. And I mean, Bijan Robinson had a decent first half, but didn't get off much in the second half. Algier had 1 nice run, and that was it. Drake London, I think, only had 1 catch in this game. Kyle Pitts had, I think, 2 nice catches in the first half, including the touchdown that he got open on. After that, nothing. So not allowing much out of the weapons of the Falcons, especially in the second half. TJ Watt, what a game. It's only going to show up on the stat sheet small, but a big game. Big tackle for a loss in the run game. 2 or 3 quarterback pressures, one of which led to an interception that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. Also gets a sack to end the game. Also gets a fumble recovery on a bobbled snap from Kirk Cousins. Also has 2 other sacks and forced fumbles that are called back. One on a penalty downfield, on a hands to the face call or a holding call, and then another one was on the bad call that said that he jumped off sides. It was close, but I don't think he did. So Watt winds up with 1 sack and 1 fumble recovery. Easily could have had 2 more sacks and 2 more forced fumbles on 2 plays called back. So monster day from Watt. Even when he couldn't get in on the play, he was very effective. 2 strip sacks overturned for Watt, but still had a monster game. Also, a sack from Montravius Adams. Does a nice job getting in there. He's been playing very well all preseason and turns that over into a nice opening game here as well. Cam Hayward and Larry Ogunjobi got a lot of pressures that don't look big on the stat sheets. Cam, I think, 4 tackles today. 1 or 2 in the run game, several nice hits on the quarterback. I like what Cam did today. He was looking spry out there. He was looking younger and quicker than he has in a long time, so big positive for Cam. Ogunjobi, nothing kind of noteworthy. I think 2 or 3 tackles on the books, but I like seeing him around the plays, especially in the run game. He got a couple low pressures, but especially in the run game, he was pretty effective as well, so positives for him. 2 interceptions on the day from our 2 new secondary additions, making us look really smart. Omar Khan out there looking like a genius. Deshaun Elliott, who plays well overall, gets a pick, I think, in the first quarter. Deshaun Elliott overall making a really nice play, jumping the ball. The ball was laid across the middle, and he comes over the middle and makes a diving interception. Has a couple nice hits as well. He's going to be a big addition in the run game. We didn't see him blitz a lot in this game, but he's going to be a good blitzer. Deshaun Elliott, a physical, strong guy who makes a lot of plays all over the field. I really appreciate what Elliott's going to bring to the table and gets the first pick of the season for the Steelers. The other one by Dante Jackson, the guy we traded Deontay Johnson for from Carolina. He comes out and gets a nice play where he jumps on the ball. Beanie Bishop makes nice coverage, and Jackson makes the nice pick on a bad throw by Cousins. Both of Cousins' picks were bad throws, but very nice picks from our 2 guys. And Dante Jackson also got a nice return on his interception as well. So 2 new guys making 2 big plays for the Steelers here. I want to give 2 big positives to 2 rookies out there who played a good bit and played pretty well. Peyton Wilson, not going to look big on the stat sheet, but had several nice tackles in the run game. He's just looking so fast and strong. He's back from injury. He looks healthy. If he can stay healthy all year, he's going to be that 3rd linebacker that really looks good out there. He played a lot, especially on rundowns behind Patrick Queen and Landon Roberts, and he showed up on the field a lot more than Roberts. Roberts had 1 nice tackle, but Wilson had 3 or 4. And Beanie Bishop, like I said, he had the 1 play on the interception that he was looking in really good coverage overall. And there was 1 or 2 that he almost got his hands on. And it made a nice chase and tackle on a 3rd down to get off the field as well in the receiving game. So big ups to 2 rookies, Beanie Bishop and Peyton Wilson. And now finally for our MVP of the game, all 18 points. Pittsburgh wins this game 18-10. And you say, how do you get 18 points and no touchdowns? Because Chris Bodwell, Jesus. Gotta put respect on his name. Boswell with a Z. Chris Boswell, 6 for 6. Kicks 6 field goals, makes all 6 of them, 3 of them from 50 plus, including a 57-yarder and a 54-yarder in this game, plus a 50. 3 of his 6 field goals from 50 plus, the most accurate field goal kicker from 50 plus in history. Makes 3 gigantic 50-yarders plus 3 other kicks, and also makes a 48-yard punt in the 4th quarter. So our punter, who had Cameron Johnston, who has a nice game, 2 punts for about 105 yards at almost a 52-yard punt average, plays a pretty good game in spite of not punting much, gets run into at the end of the game. They don't call roughing or running into the kicker. Another bad referee call, in my opinion. They call a holding penalty on us, so we have to now punt the ball to the Falcons when we're only up by 5 in the 4th quarter. So this punt is crucial, and now Cameron Johnson goes off with an injury. So now Boswell, who's kicked 6 field goals, including 3 from 50 plus, now has to come in for the first time in his career and be a punter, catch the long snap and punt the ball. And he punts it 48 yards and pins them pretty deep. So Boswell with the 6 field goal makes and the punt of the day. Wow, Chris Boswell is the biggest positive of the day for us. So overall, like I said, considering all the flux at quarterback and all the flux on the line, it was messy as expected. New coordinator, new line working together, lots of rookies out there. So the thing starts off a little janky, and the offense doesn't fully get it together. The defense bends but not breaks, and overall the defense allows only 10 points to a very explosive team. And we move the ball down the field, don't get any touchdowns yet. No touchdowns scored in this game, but 8 good drives, 9 good drives, really, 1 stops on 4th down. The other 6 good drives go for field goals. Pittsburgh overall gets a win on the road against a good up-and-coming prospective team in Atlanta, who I've got in the playoffs this year. I think most people do have them in the playoffs, probably winning their division, even though it's a weak division. People expect Atlanta to be one of the biggest growing teams out of the NFC this year, and to hold them to 10 points in the whole game and win the game on field goals alone, while also still showing some good rushing prowess and some pretty good prospective drives from a team with a backup line and a backup quarterback in there, feels pretty good for us. Pittsburgh winning against a good team on the road moves to 1-0, and you got to feel good about that. So tell me in the comments below what you thought of the Steelers' performance. Boswell for MVP. Who do you guys think stood out to you? Who played good? Who played bad or should have played better? Tell me about those in the comments below as well. Please like, share, and subscribe these Pittsburgh Steelers deep dives, and if you want more of these, I'll bring you guys more previews and reviews of the games as they happen. Pittsburgh is 1-0, and I'm very excited that football is back. See you guys soon.